the animal kingdom today. As all of you know, I am a big supporter of pets, animals of all kinds, fur, scales, whatever they've got. I'm with them. But today I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I get slammed in the side of the head. I look around, and this pigeon goes staggering away. A pigeon flew right into the side of my big stupid head and looked mad. So I just want you guys to know that I'm with you, and find a different person to smack around from now on, because I was a little upset by that. I'm now officially bird brained. Okay, Joe, so you are a photographer, as we know, work largely with animals. Have you worked with people, by the way?
Yeah, pets and people, they pretty much go hand in hand.
I don't know about your neighborhood, but sounds like a pretty interesting building you live in. I'm talking about, you obviously, if you take pictures of pets with their owners, but I'm talking about, did you ever take pictures of kids for their bar mitzvah or weddings or whatever?
Yeah, we do gamut weddings, a lot of families, functions, birthday, and then there's a lot of charity stuff, events that we do.
Okay. How long have you been involved in this business?
Professionally, about 7 years, and I've always been taking photographs, but then I started taking it serious about 7 years ago.
Okay. Has it changed much in the time you've been doing it?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, when digital took over from the old, film cameras, changed the industry tremendously. Costs started to come down from the printer's end, and a lot of people got involved that normally wouldn't have, due to the technical aspect of it. The cameras kind of take on that role and do a lot of things that people take for granted now.
Okay. So I guess they kind of has made things a little more difficult for you, right? People can take a lot of their own pictures now.
Yes and no. I mean, there's still that talented aspect to it. The equipment can only do so much, but it takes the artist's eye to actually capture and put his own unique taste to the photograph.
Okay, so I wanted to start with you because dogs want to get their picture taken, but before they can do that, they obviously have to get dressed for the occasion. So we want to work Anthony in here, an old friend of mine, Anthony Rubio, noted pet fashion designer. Now, have you worked with the other people on the show, by the way, at all? Do you refer people to Joe after they dress them up?
Well, I certainly will. I mean, we just met recently at the centennial celebration of the Humane Society of New Rochelle, and I have had the pleasure of working several times with Grace Forster, one of the Doggie Moms, who happens to be an avid fan of a lot of my work. So, yeah, I know both.
Yes, we're going to work Grace into this shortly. She's going to tell us about some of Anthony's fabulous designs. By the way, I had a date with one of Grace's roommates a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you recall. We went to the New Rochelle gala together. Me and my new best gal, Portia.
Yeah. So she was wearing one of my designs.
Was she?
Yeah, she was.
So do you have a lot of repeat customers? Is that the way?
Absolutely. Once they've seen some of my work, actually bought some of the work, they've come back for more. I guess they like it.
Now, how did you get involved in designing stuff for dogs, by the way?
Well, originally I studied women's wear at FIT, and I just put it aside for a while. I was doing other works, and we attained my newest muse. His name is Bandit, my dog, and he was a rescue, and we found that he had a liking for clothing and sunglasses. Started with sunglasses. He became my inspiration. From then on, I started with competitions and contests all over New York. He swept quite a few, made a few local appearances, and the rest is history.
Do you still make clothes for people ever, or no?
I could. I'm pretty capable of doing it. I took the studies for it, yeah.
Well, what made you decide to go dog?
It's easier and they don't complain.
I was going to say, there are less complaints.
They don't complain and they love it, and they're always comfortable, and they always look cute. When they walk out in the garments, it's not fussing or this sense of insecurity. They walk out there with whatever they have on, and they love it.
Okay. Now, we want to get back to Joe. Have you photographed any of Anthony's designs, Joe?
No, I haven't.
Back to Anthony. No, okay, Joe. Tell us about it.
I think I've seen a couple of pigeons with his dresses on.
I was going to say you did film Portia.
We
snap a few shots of Portia with
Rubio,
with Anthony's designs.
Yeah, and I've run into Anthony and Grace at a couple of functions. I remember the Riverside Walk.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Every year. So they've been around for a long time.
Okay, now you've worked with people somewhat. What's the difference between the two?
Well, Anthony hit it on the head. The dogs, they're not vain. You know, they pretty much they'll give you a small area of time to work with. People, you have to show them you're going to take a good picture. They're worried about how they look, and you don't have that problem with dogs.
Dogs are not fussy.
No, most of them are. No.
Okay, now for both of you guys, what breeds do you tend to work with most often? Do you tend to do purebreds mostly, or?
I design for any breed. I don't have a problem designing for any breed. I've had a few occasions to design for larger dogs. Usually it's the smaller dog owners and the medium-sized dogs, but Barker Labradoodle, I designed for him for the Westminster.
He's one of the celebrities that I can count in my friends list. I'm one of his Facebook friends. He's a very nice guy, Barker.
And Bo Lovner also wore one of my top hats. I made it on television. So.
Did you do that little poker playing dog ever?
That was Bandit. That was my dog. He played poker and he won his category at Tompkins Square Park, Halloween 2008.
So Bandit plays poker.
Oh, Jilly Dog.
No, Jilly Dog is the one who plays poker.
Yeah.
But Bandit was the poker playing dog in the famous painting of dogs playing poker. So I depicted the whole thing for Halloween.
Oh, okay. So what I was really thinking of is the owners. I mean, do the owners of purebreds, are they more inclined to get photography services or fashions designed for their dogs? Or do you find that everybody kind of treats their dogs equally?
No, there are some who treat their dogs a little bit more extravagantly. They don't mind putting garments and well-to-do pieces. You know, their dog is a representation of their career, so yeah, they will do it. But it's not necessary that it has to be a pure breed. No.
I think that seems to be a trend more in the city than in the suburbs. In the wealthy areas in the suburbs, you tend to get the labs and the goldens and the doodles, but in the cities, it's in the more the smaller breeds, the designer.
Okay. Now, which dogs make better models? How about that? Do you find that purebreds are prima donnas? I mean, I know that the Grace's dogs, they're on the mark. I mean, these are professionals, but your basic Yorkie, or a poodle, can they be a little stuck up or what?
Remember, these are dogs. These are not people with personalities. So if they behave a certain way,
can you see the name of this show? These are people for the next hour, so get used to it.
Well, the case is that dogs will not primp and prop, the way that people do. So, the dogs will do what you pretty much train them to do.
Okay. So dogs are more obedient than people, you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Now, what's the most unusual animal that you guys have worked with? Have you mainly just worked with dogs and cats? Or I know for you as a photographer, you've probably worked with other stuff, right?
Yeah, we work with pigs and monkey. Not a monkey.
Not a monkey? I want to hear that story. Make something
pythons,
up. Pythons?
Python, horses, the typical...
Someone wanted to get their python a bar mitzvah album?
We took some photos of I was doing a shoot with the family with a dog, and they had a python, and we included that. So...
how was the python? Was he well behaved?
He was a little hard to direct, but he came around eventually. A couple of rats.
So you bribed the python with one of your. Did you first take pictures of the rats and then feed them to the python?
I didn't get involved with that. I was joking with that one, but he was pretty simple. The owner held him, so it wasn't much of a...
Because we have a friend who actually does fashion design for rats, as you know, Anthony. Have you worked with rats at all?
As a kid, we played with hamsters. I've never had rats, and no, I don't dress rats, not yet anyway.
Someone wants to know if anyone's worked with gibbons. There's apparently a gibbon fan. No, that's unfortunate. But so you have not made any rat clothes, Anthony?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so that market is still pretty much cornered.
Yeah, I think that it's all hers.
Okay. Now, you guys have both gotten some press, I believe, right? Certainly, Anthony, you're like a media darling.
Well, I'd rather say it's Bandit that's the media darling. I happen to be like security or somebody around him, but we've made the newspapers. We've been on the Today Show. We've been on several television networks. We've been interviewed for so many different events and activities, and yeah, he's a little celebrity.
Okay, does he seem to enjoy it, you think?
Oh man, it's like he gets into he'll be acting all lazy before we get there, and then when it's time to get into the event, he gets right into it. From the very first time we did Elvis Presley, he had a runway. We did Viva Las Vegas, and he actually worked the runway. So I was like, this is a natural. We got to work with him.
I liked his hat on Friday night. Well,
Friday night's hat. Oh, that was the.
he had like this little skull cap. He had like a yarmulke on.
It was like a yarmulke skull cap. Yeah, everybody said the same thing, and it was with some Pucci fabric, so it was really interesting.
So if you want to see a Chihuahua with a yarmulke, check out the pictures from Friday night's event. You seem to do some hats and sunglasses and stuff. Are accessories big with these guys?
Well, I'm working on accessories for the dogs, but I'm also now extending into accessories for the owners, so they can have a little aspect that matches. I don't know if you saw at the New Rochelle event, I was wearing a bow tie and a pocket square that matched what Portia was wearing. Usually when I dress Bandit, I would consider something that I should wear, so I'm creating new accessories.
Okay. Speaking of which, so let's get you involved here, Grace.
Hi there, Andy. Nice to see you.
Yeah. I know that you have had a number of outfits made by Anthony, so tell us about some of them. What makes him stand out in your mind?
I was admiring his outfits on some of the other Doggie Moms, and he invited me to a fashion show that he was giving, and if he could design for my dogs for the fashion show, and I said yes, and that was the first time that I had him make garments for Portia and Rosie, and it was phenomenal. I was so happy, and we worked very well together, and I like his eye, I like his color palette, and the fit, and
She says you have nice eyes, Anthony. What do you think?
Well, thank you, Grace.
yeah, so it was an interesting way that we got together, and interesting sometimes that for the case of the show, he came up with the designs and the fabric, and then I bought dresses to match so that we could go out sort of coordinated. Usually it's the other way around. I buy a dress, and then, which is the case of the New Rochelle, for instance, gala, whereas I bought a dress, and then he found fabric choices, and then we decided which one would look best with my dress, and we went from there. And then he made his own, as he said, bow tie and pocket handkerchief, which worked really well.
All right, we're going to go to a brief commercial message. When we come back, we're going to hear more of the same stuff, basically, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back.